Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Fight the Funk podcast dedicated to mental health, exploring mental health, culture, and the world around us. I'm your host, Maagic Collins, and I'm an artist, peer-to-peer group facilitator at NAMI West LA. I'm also a crisis counselor through Cal Hope and Painted Brain. So mental health is my passion. And today, man, I also want to say May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So shout out to all the organizations, the mental health advocates, the wellness coaches for doing their part in this world of trying to help us all live a better life. And for my organizations and affiliates, Cal Hope Painted Brain, NAMI West LA, Black Mental Health Task Force, and Be Well Collaborative in Long Beach, California. And today I have a special guest, very motivating and inspiring. Her story will I was looking through it, and it's for me personally and everything I've been through, it's somebody to look up to. So I hope you guys all enjoy our conversation today. And you can check it out on YouTube as well as Facebook, and I'm going to be putting out clips on LinkedIn as well. So join us today is Jillian Bullock. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to have you. You lived a amazing and inspiring life, and continue to, and working for the New York Times.
Wall Street Journal, the Wall Street
Oh,
Journal.
my bad. I want to cause no.
Who don't start no trouble there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't want to start no trouble. Yeah, it's too early in the morning for that. And I mean, you've been through so much, and you've overcome so much, and to have a fulfilling life. Now, what like I came across your Here I Stand that you published in 2012. So first off, how are you today?
I'm
Uh,
great. I'm great. Dealing with a little bit of allergies, but it's that time of the year, unfortunately.
okay. What area are you in?
I'm in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia. Okay. Excellent. Is it like it's cold over there?
Oh no, it's really well, it's a little breezy today. It's only around 55 degrees, but
Uh,
it's beautiful to me. Gotta get out, go walking a couple of miles, uh,
yeah.
get that fresh air in your lungs. It's wonderful.
Nice. Okay. And so with that, like here I stand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very, it says a lot already. What kind of where were you coming out of when that for your memoir, like at that point where it was like, you know what, it's time to write my story.
Yeah, well, I had been doing some speaking engagements, and everybody sharing my story. I say
Mm,
how I overcame, transformed from a victim to a victor,
mm,
and then everybody just kept asking me, how do you do it? What did you do? The steps, all this, and I said, well, maybe if I just write a book that
mm,
says what I went through and how I chose to come out of it, and how I worked to come out of it, about being, a lot of different horrific experiences, like being raped when I was 10 and being on the streets when I was 15, homeless, got involved in prostitution and drug addiction.
mm,
Um, and then, like when I got pregnant, I've said, I wanted a better life. I always dreamt of being really a writer first,
mm,
um, and then later a filmmaker, but definitely a writer. And then I said, you know what? I got to get off the streets. I'm pregnant. If I'm going to have this baby, I got to be able to get clean from drugs,
mm.
and I have to get my butt back in school somehow. And I fought to do that. It was a long road because I didn't really have the support to do it. I'm a kid, I'm a baby having a baby in a sense.
Yeah.
And so struggling to get off the drugs was hard. And, I had my baby at 16. He was 2 months premature from the drug use that I had used.
Mm.
Doctor didn't only gave him a 50% chance of living. So it was a rough time for me.
Yeah. How I feel like anybody, if you're um, from the those, if you're from the background, like how, I feel like it's like a combination lock, and you are turning, it's like it's like living in a riddle in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. And that's kind of where like my passion is kind of how to figure that lock
Undo.
out for generational trauma, like for others, for
Yeah.
myself as well. And it's like how do you feel like you to start rising out of those places that you're in mentally and environment? What was kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
start
It's
for that?
hard. It was
Mm,
hard to do. Obviously, like I said, but I didn't have the support
mm,
system in place. So I had to do basically on my own. So that required me to dig down deep and figure out again. I decided to have the baby. I was thinking about giving him up for adoption.
mm,
But I decided not to. I decided to try to figure this out. So I read a lot of books on parenting and child psychology, and
mm,
um, I went back to high school to try, to get my degree,
mm,
because I obviously when I'm homeless, I wasn't going to school.
mm,
Um, so I had missed a year of school at being homeless.
mm,
Um, so it was just something in me. I had a drive and resilience, and I said, I can't let my son be a statistic, or myself. I'm a young lady, get, or already have the odds against me. I'm a teenage mother on welfare, with a baby. So they're like,
mm,
nobody really wanted to help me because they just thought that I would just be a statistic. My son would be a statistic as a young black male in America, coming from my past, that he definitely wouldn't amount to anything. I
yeah.
guess in a sense, I wanted to prove people wrong.
Uh-huh.
That's, I wanted to prove that, as I say, my favorite quote that I came up with is, your past doesn't dictate what your future will be.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to prove people wrong. And I worked hard at it just because I knew that I was better than that. And I
Mm,
didn't want my son to be a statistic, and I didn't want him to be people said that he wouldn't, graduate from high school, that he'll end up in a gangbanger or
mm,
having, being involved with drugs and on the streets, be in prison by the time he was 18.
mm.
So, now that I'm where I'm at, and my son is Dr. Clinton Bullock, who
Oh,
who speaks
oh,
five languages. He's right now he's in Colombia. He travels
wow.
the world.
Yeah.
Um, he's a life coach, as I
Uh,
am. He's a life coach, and he travels the world, and he speaks in different languages, coaching people.
that's amazing.
Um, and that makes me feel good because it makes me say, hey, again, it's a testament of
Mm,
what I was able to do for myself and what I was able to do raising him.
mm,
And he never been in any trouble with the law. He doesn't have
mm.
50 million babies.
Yeah,
He was never been in prison.
yeah.
So, it's a good thing, and it makes you feel good.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Like, I'm feeling sentimental just listening. It's like, man, this is man. Oh man. Now, so how has like with everything that has transpired from the pandemic and social injustice, and social outrage, how has that kind of informed your work moving forward?
Anything that I do, like from when I was a reporter at the Wall Street Journal to any articles I write or
Mm,
movies I do, it's always about empowering people and educating people. You have to entertain them, of course. This is the business
mm,
that I'm in. But I
mm,
definitely want people to walk away talking about things that I've written and directed, because I think it's important for us
mm,
to, as a country, to um, see, truly see what's going on, and stop having blinders on about it. And mental health is one of those issues, of course, and
mm,
also racism, police brutality. So I'm a mental health advocate. I'm always, because I dealt with depression for a number of years myself.
mm,
And then it's just, I just want to be that person, that voice, through my work, through my speaking, through my interviews that I do, to try to help others. I'm at
mm,
that point that I'm in a good point in my life, that I can help others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. And then with your public speaking, like what is your kind of what's your core message that you usually go in with? Like I'm sure you got just so much to choose from. It's
Yeah, I
like,
do have a different speaking platforms and different topics, but you know, the main one is again is resilience and how to be able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I've been in some of the worst situations that people can imagine. I think the only thing that hasn't happened to me is that I've never been to prison, but basically everything else you could think of has happened,
yeah,
and people are looking for someone who has gone through a lot that they've gone through. Like I can connect that way. I'm not
mm-hmm.
one of those speakers that really haven't gone through much in their life. So
Yeah,
it's hard for them to relate to someone who comes up to you and says, I was a teenage mom, I was on drugs, I wanted to commit suicide, I lost my job, I was homeless. I've been there. So
yeah,
domestic
yeah.
violence, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing. I
Mm-hmm.
can relate to that person in some way. And they feel that they can connect with me that way, and
Mm-hmm.
then I can speak my truth to them and give them tips on how they can climb out of that hole, because there are steps to it. You got to obviously be able to willing to put into the work, and it's not easy. It's not easy to transform your life from a victim to a victor. It's not easy at all.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a lot of downfalls. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
feel like giving up, but you can't, because like, again, if I had quit and just gave into a society, and even a lot of my family members said about myself, said about my child, I would be still on welfare. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I wouldn't be uneducated. You know, my son would be in prison or something if I had given into that mindset of
Yeah,
what others were saying.
yeah.
You know, I refuse to do that. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to teach people how to block that negativity, in order to be able to transform their life to succeed in life, to be happy, to succeed, and to overcome whatever issues that they're going through.
Mm-hmm. And then that kind of takes me into the art of martial arts and the craft,
Yeah.
uh, and the spiritual connection. What is that kind of what you originally kind of found yourself practicing to work on your mind and your body and your soul?
Yeah, it just came to me not too long ago. I mean, I was always trying to work on myself. I didn't really get into knowing myself until I was in my 50s. So I'm in my 50s. So because, I didn't even know I was depressed, because I didn't know that until I actually
Mm-hmm.
started going to counseling, and the therapist told me that you're suffering from PTSD and
Yeah,
depression. I was like, "What?" You know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but it does explain a lot of things. It explains why, for the longest time, because I didn't know, for the longest time, when I didn't deal with anger well, and the way I dealt with anger is because I am a martial artist, a black belt. My first thing is to fight. That's that response of trying to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm still working on how to be, more at peace, and I didn't realize how to do that until I started doing yoga. Yoga and
Mm-hmm.
meditation. Yeah, that's been a big thing,
Yeah.
for me in the last couple of years, to really get to that mat at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's quiet in my room, and
Mm-hmm.
um, and my and I just have the peace and calmness of the day, um, and spend an hour there, and it's a wonderful thing. It helps me calm me, keeps me at peace, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't have to resort to using these as opposed to using this and
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Yeah. So.
yeah. That's awesome. And that's important. Like, so you have a morning routine.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Because I
Yeah.
think there's something about five.
It's
I'll go for it.
five
Go for
o'clock. I'm up at 4. So,
it.
but then up, you wash up. I wash up and all that. Then I get my herbal tea. I do that,
Mm-hmm.
and I write in my journal. It's important to write in your journal so you can express how you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
your what you're grateful for. That's very important to do. So I work on that, and then by 5 o'clock I'm on the mat. Like I said, I have like a little water fountain. Little lights that
Yeah,
mist comes up from the from the water fountain and stuff,
that's
and
awesome.
little candles, and it helps put me in a very tranquil state of mind. You ever wonder why people that do yoga, like the instructors, they're usually around water,
Mm-hmm.
because water is so tranquil, and it calms your nerves, it calms your brain cells, it calms it down. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are feeling stress and angst and all that helps. Between the water and the breathing techniques that you do through yoga,
Mm-hmm.
Not only do you get physically fit, because if you ever did downward dog, I don't know if you have, but if you ever did that position and tried to hold it, it's a very difficult position to
Yeah.
hold.
Yeah.
So you're doing stretching, balancing, core work, you're doing all that, but then you also calm down and do your meditations out of it.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. And for me, it's like there's something about 5 a.m. or you being up. I think it's like that choosing to be
Hmm.
up, like rather than like being feeling like you're just kind of thrown into the day. Like if you when you sleep in or when you get up around like 9 or 10 or whatever, it feels like you're being kind of thrown out of bed and you're kind of disheveled.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean it is. You really are. When you hit that snooze button 3, 4 times,
hmm
it wires your brain differently than if you wake up with a purpose.
hmm
So it does because you're not really focusing on your day. You're hitting that button. I only get 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. It
hmm
distracts you for what you're supposed to be doing for the day. But when you get up with your intention, like I do with my intention, I know exactly what I'm going to do. It
hmm
starts my day off right. I'm not rushing. I'm not, oh my God, I got to get this together. I got to get my food together. I got to do this. I got to do that. Your day is already hectic. Your day is already stressed.
Yeah,
And you don't want to
yeah.
start your day. You don't want to start your day like that. It's
Mhm.
not good for your mind, your body, or your spirit at all.
Mhm. And now, do you do the list or the setting intentions the night before?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I put it in my journal.
Uh,
I write in the morning. I write at night, and at night I write. You know, I'm grateful for whatever happened during the day, and then
mhm,
I write down what I plan to do for the next day. So I usually have 4 things that I write down, and
mhm,
then I work on them the next day. And that's also good to have because again, you have certain type of structure in your life that you're not just scattered all over the place because that
yeah.
does create stress in your life and it creates stress in your mind when you just wake up and you don't know what you're doing. You don't have a clear grasp of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Nice, nice. And then with that, like, do you do you have like as far as with your mental health advocacy, um,
Hmm.
is there when it comes to working with other people, do you have kind of like your basis for um, mental health, like especially like I know a lot of black males struggle with bipolar 1, um, and with that, and then depression that we don't understand mental health like in that deeper level,
Yeah,
like where it's like, oh yeah, we all have something of passing down our traumas to each other. Um,
definitely.
when you enter kind of environments where it's predominantly black, how do you kind of approach mental health where it's like there's still that stigma where it's a weakness to talk about it, to expose it, to be vulnerable? Um, how do you kind of address that where it's like we solve it to keep moving forward rather than just talk about it?
Yeah, it's difficult especially for the black community. We just think, we could pray away the issues. That's what you've been taught
Mhm.
from your past, your parents or your grandparents say, we don't do therapy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we don't do that. We don't do that. It's a stigma. It is a stigma. It's around all races, but especially in the black community,
Mhm.
it's crazy.
Mhm.
Um, and that stems back from our mentality from our ancestors from slavery.
Mhm.
Really, you didn't get no help. You relied on each other, and had to be strong. You had to
Yeah.
push through it, no matter what was going on.
Mhm.
You couldn't complain. You can't. I mean, what you gonna do? You can't
Mhm.
do anything at that time. But now we're years away, so many years away from that slavery. We have to get out of that slavery mentality as well, and that's the problem.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I try to talk to people about that and say, teach them that that is a slave mentality, and we don't want to be that way. We don't want to be that way because we want to be healed. We want to be healthy. We want to be well, mind, body, and spirit. It's important, not just important for our sake, but for our kids, for our spouses, for all our relationships, for us to be healed.
Mhm.
And the thing is, I always give this analogy that, when you're on a plane and turbulences with the airplane, y'all might be like dropping down or something. and the mask fall down, the oxygen mask. You know, the stewardess or whatever, the steward says, you know, put the mask on you first,
Mm.
right? Because if
Mm.
you are passed out, you can't help your child sitting next to you, your parents, and
Yeah,
whatever. So
yeah.
self-care, self-healing, and self-love is important for you to do first. It's not selfish. You have
Mm.
to take care of yourself first in order for you to be good to help other people.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we talk about that, and then I think again the fact that I have that connection with people that makes them comfortable. That I've
Mhm.
gone through it. I've been there. I've been in counseling. I've been on medication for depression and everything. And I've attempted suicide in the past. So it's not like I can't relate to them
Mhm.
because of all the stuff that I've gone through. And again,
Mhm.
I think that's what makes them feel closer to me and that I can relate to them and that they want to open up to me because they know that I'm not full of crap. I've been there. I know what they're going
Mhm.
through.
Mhm. And now, what with that, like, I think we all have family members that are just, that are in that place, that negative, the cycles, the
Mm-hmm.
patterns, um, and like you said, there's the kind of there's what term I heard a long time ago, the ain't it awful crew, kind of like where it just stay like we're just gonna stay in this negative
Yeah,
place.
because
Yeah, yeah. So how do you? Because when you came out of your that the place that you come out of is the houselessness, the um, being in the um, even in the what do you call it, like the I'm sorry, I'm blanking, but
that's okay. It
but it's like,
happens.
yeah, but it's like to I'm like all your stories are in my head, like so the abuse, the houselessness, like just the layers of it. Um, that's what I'm trying to say. The social environment of that, because like you know the people, like you have that relationship. So how did you move away from that, including the family, including because a lot of times with mental health, like I've talked to people where it's like a lot of times the hard part of moving forward is the social element, and kind of how do you, when you're talking to people and when you're working with when you're
Mhm.
coaching, when you're giving when you're a speaker, how do you kind of address that where
You
moving
talking
past.
about if they're staying with around the same people that they were or the same environment?
Exactly. Whereas like
Yeah,
some.
you're gonna have to get rid of that. They're gonna have to move away from that real quick. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
around people who are doing the stuff that you used to do. How you gonna heal? You're gonna just fall back. Like if I'm a drug addict, or I'm a recovering drug addict, I can't
Mm-hmm.
be around people who do drugs. I mean now I can. Obviously, I'm long
Yeah,
past that. But
yeah.
during that time, I was trying to stay clean myself.
Uh,
You can't be around people who's using drugs. They're not that circle that you need to be around. You need to
uh,
be in a circle of people who are basically better than you,
mhm.
if that makes sense. The
Yeah.
people that you can rely on, people that you can look up to, and people that you want to be like. Even if
Mm,
there's people on, if you don't have that circle physically, go online and look at motivational people that you really admire. Look at their motivational speaks, listen to their stories. Um, and you have to start fueling your mind with that positive energy. That
mm,
negative energy, you got to let that go. You can't stay around those people. If you're trying to lose weight, you're obese and you're trying to lose weight, you can't hang around all your friends who are obese or
yeah,
unhealthy.
yeah.
You gotta go hang around the people who are fit and healthy and eating clean because
Mm,
they're gonna kick you in the butt if you try to go out and have a Krispy Kreme.
yeah, yeah,
They're gonna
yeah.
kick you in the booty, or they're gonna
Uh-huh.
kick you in the butt if you ain't up at 5 o'clock and being outside. We gonna go running today, and you
Uh-huh.
lying in the house. You lying in the house doing nothing. If you have people who are just obese, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you don't have to go running today.
Yeah, yeah,
Come
yeah,
on, come
yeah,
on,
yeah.
it's all right, it's okay."
Mm,
Or yeah, you can go out and have all that chicken and sodas and this and that. They don't because they're there.
uh-huh.
You're trying to get here on a
Uh-huh.
whole different level. So some people you're gonna have to leave behind. That could include family members
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of family members will try to hold you back because they're still ill. They're still
Uh-huh.
mentally and emotionally ill. So they want you to stay with them. Crabs in a barrel,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so they're gonna be naysayers and haters when you're trying to do right. And just
Mhm,
like with my family, who told me to give my son up for adoption,
mhm,
you're never gonna amount to anything. You're just gonna be a mother on welfare, uneducated, have 50 million babies and stuff.
mhm,
And there were a lot of women in my family who did that. They had a lot of kids and just stayed on welfare. I just said it wasn't going to be me,
mhm,
um, and it's not going to happen to my son. So if you want to do that, again, you just have to look at if you're not around those people, you have to start eliminating those people from your life. Hang
mhm,
around them less and less, and find another group. Like say if you wanted to start running to lose weight, they have running groups. So you
mhm,
join those groups and you get out there with them, and they'll help you and they'll encourage you. And,
mhm,
and you find groups on Facebook or something that talks about nutritional eating. You join the group. These
mhm,
people will help pull you through. And if you say, "Oh, I'm having a bad day today," they'll say words of encouragement to help you push you through. Those
mhm,
are the groups of people that you need to be. You got to start eliminating the people who don't want you to go anywhere, because those people are, like I said, are still mentally ill themselves. So they want to hold you back unconsciously, but they want to hold you back.
mhm, mhm. That's a great point. Now, as far as with your projects, like what are the kind of, so you're in the film industry, producer, director, and you also were a part of one of my all-time favorite films, Malcolm X. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, like that was actually the first time I ever cried in a movie.
Malcolm X. Okay.
Yeah, where I was like, I got emotion. It's like,
Yeah,
that,
yeah. That's what I was an intern on
uh,
Malcolm X.
uh,
Way back when they started. No, and it was an interesting process because you get your feet wet as an intern. You gotta pay your dues. You gotta do the grunt work, and
mm,
interns do the grunt work. We don't
mm,
get paid.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's a learning experience. So from that, you move up, you work on other people's projects until you form your own, like I did. And then you just do it your way. You have your own production company. You could write your own work, direct it, produce it, put it out. Um, and it's something you got to do, something that you love, because it is hard work. It is hard work to be a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. I've PA'd for years, so it's like
Yeah.
that
So
grunt, 13-hour, 16-hour days. Oh man, like
yeah,
whoo.
it's tough. It's rough work.
Yeah, first
Um,
one there, last one out.
Yep,
Uh,
yep, yep,
yeah.
yep. So, but you know what? Again, you have to do something that you love, no matter what it is. You have to do
Mm-hmm.
something you love, but you also have to be willing to put in the work. I would
Mm-hmm.
say you got to when I talk to people, I say, oh, you got to be able to put in the blood, sweat, and tears, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to
Yeah,
take all that for you to
yeah.
become successful, because, um, especially being a person of color and me being a woman of color,
Mm-hmm.
I have to work harder than, the average person,
Mm-hmm.
because I am of color and I am a female.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Now what projects, as far as, do you have a do you have a kind of a slate where it's like, all right, doing this film and I have this article, like how are you structuring your goals?
Um, it's getting kind of hectic right now, to be honest. It's just so much coming at me. Since I started working on pre-production on a new movie that I'm doing, it's called A Cup Full of Crazy. It's a
Mm,
psychological thriller that deals with mental health and the path to recovery and healing.
mm,
We start filming in August, but since I have a marketing team, publicity team, they have put out a lot of different press releases about the film,
okay.
and a lot of people have been coming at me to be on interviews and shows, especially because I'm a mental health advocate.
Mm,
So it is getting hectic, because I do have a lot of projects in the pipeline. After a sense of purpose, I got hired from two Hollywood producers to direct a $5.5 million movie called 22,
mm,
and that's a bigger budget film. We'll be out in LA doing that one. Then after that, my life story is in development as a feature film as well.
mm,
Um, and then I have a couple other projects that I'm working on for 20 and 2022. So it's going to be busy. It's going to be constantly busy. But I'm not complaining. This is what
Yeah.
I've worked for all these years for, to get to this point that I'm moving up and up and up, and Hollywood is recognizing that. So
Mm.
I don't care how much work I got to do, as long as I can still get up at 4 and hit that mat at 5 and
Mhm.
get some training in, my martial arts training and all that. I'm happy, and it gets me set for the day.
Nice, nice, nice. And then, can you share a bit about your upcoming project?
Yeah, a couple of crazy deals with a woman named Angela Rodriguez. She is a professional mixed martial arts fighter, and she's also a award-winning film screenwriter. So she's had won Golden Globes and Oscars and all that. So she's big in the industry. She had a nervous breakdown about a year ago, dealing with her husband. Something, I'm not gonna tell you what happened in the film, but something goes really wrong, and she had a nervous breakdown. So now, a year later, she's taking medication for depression and PTSD, and she's also writing her new script because she's doing better. So she's writing a new script, a
Mhm.
thriller about a serial killer in Philadelphia. Now, in the movies, things start happening to her. Things in the script start
Mhm.
happening to her in real life. So when she confides in her therapist, her psychiatrist, he's not quite sure if she's having another mental breakdown or if someone's really terrorizing her. So
Mhm.
the audience will have to stay tuned for the twists and turns to see if Angela's going crazy again, or is someone really trying to hurt her. But they
Yeah,
won't really know that until they have to stick with the movie and see what happens, because you won't find out till near the end of the movie.
yeah, okay, all right, nice. And how long has this been in development?
It's been in development for a couple of years because we were supposed to film last year, but because of the pandemic, we had to stop everything, had to shut down.
Yeah.
Um, but in a sense, it was a good thing that happened because we were able to get some well known um, professional athletes in the movie. Now we have a couple of people from the UFC
Mm.
fight. UFC, biggest organization for martial arts, and we also have Billy Blanks attached to. Everybody knows him from Tybo. We
Mm.
know Billy Blanks, and we also are going to attaching a couple of A-list actors to the project. So everything's working out fine. So even though we had to push it back some, it's actually doing better for us now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice, nice. And then, I do want to just this one photo, old school, just going back, just going back.
Old school Wall Street Journal.
So you had
Yeah.
the fro, the
Yep.
the the wardrobe. You were doing it. You was now
Yeah.
what day was this?
Well, this was a big day for me. This was the first day I had been an intern here at the Wall Street
Uh,
Journal, and this photo was the fact that I had my first actual article in the newspaper.
wow.
It took me 5 years to be actually become a writer for the Wall Street Journal.
Uh,
Um, and this made me so proud because it's the first day I actually saw my name in the Wall Street Journal as a reporter. So that was
Ooh,
pretty cool. Yeah, it
yeah.
took 5 years to get there. This is what I'm talking about. You got to put in the work. It's not going
Uh,
to happen overnight.
uh, that's dope. He's like he's like right here. That's me with the fro. Yeah.
Yeah, working it out.
Right, working it out. Man, that's awesome. And now, so you got that project, Cup Full of Crazy, and then you have the other project, that
22.
22.
That's
Can you
yep.
say a
Yeah,
little
no
bit about
lag.
that?
Filming that. Hmm.
Can you speak a bit about 22?
22 is actually that's an interesting project. It deals with it focuses on one young man who comes back from I think Iraq or Afghanistan. One of them, I think Afghanistan. And again, he's having a hard time assimilating back into society, seeing war, seeing a lot of things happen there. Um, it was interesting because the two producers that contacted me, at first I thought they were kidding around. I thought somebody was
Mm.
pranking me because they were, two white producers from Hollywood, and they said they were looking for a female director for this movie. And I was like, that's interesting because does Hollywood come after a female to direct a $5 million
Mm.
movie? So
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, they were pranking me, I thought. But
Uh,
we got on a Zoom call, and they said they had looked at my previous film called A Sense of Purpose Fighting for Our Lives, which deals with veterans and military sexual assault. and they loved it. And they said they were looking for a female to direct their film because they wanted a female because they thought she would have more a sensibility for this type of story. It's a very interesting story with this young man, and it's based on a true story. So they wanted someone who really was going to do justice to it. Then they said they hit the jackpot when they found out that I was a veteran because they said, "Wow, we got a female and a veteran." So
Yeah.
that kind of sealed the deal for them.
Nice. And then, and when would that be in production?
Well, as soon as I finish my film, A Cup for a Crazy, then I have to go out to California and meet with the producers, and we're gonna see how soon we can get that up and going. Like I said, we're gonna be shooting that one in various parts of California.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Now, are you still doing your first love, the writing articles, and how's
Well,
that? Are you?
I haven't been able to write lately, but I'm thinking about starting a blog because again, people have been asking me a lot of questions dealing with mind, body, spirit connection, fitness, nutrition, and they've been asking me about a lot about that. So I said, I can't talk to everybody. So I said, maybe if I just do it through a blog, I can help people reach more people that way. So I'm going to start that up probably next month.
Okay. And then with like your bouts like with depression and PTSD, like how do you um like you have your meditating your journals, do you have like those setbacks where it's like, oh, I had a episode, like I had a moment here, um like how have you throughout the years your mental health have fluctuates?
I'm pretty good, but I am doing really well. But again, I always have to be mindful, uh, because like I said, I learned in therapy that I used these because
Mm-hmm.
that was a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be mindful that I can't let that anger part get to me where I start being like this because it's not healthy. And it's definitely not healthy for the person. It would be healthy for
Yeah.
the person since I have
Yeah.
2 black belts. That definitely wouldn't be healthy for the person. So
Uh,
I know I have to be mindful. And when I'm feeling that way, I learn how to do breathing techniques now that helps
mhm,
calm me down. And then I might have to spend some more longer time meditating and doing yoga to help get me back to that level that I need to be. Um, so that's very important. That's everybody has to find their own coping mechanism. What works for
mhm,
them, that works for me.
uh,
For everybody has something, but you got to find something because there's going to be stress in your life. There's going to be
mhm,
incidents in your life that's going to push you to that edge.
mhm,
And if you don't know how to pull that back in, you're going to do something that you're going to regret.
mhm, mhm. That's a great point. Okay. And then this is just I kind of put this out here just uh, a quote. What you see is not all there is to know. What does that make you think?
What you
That's from
see?
yeah, it's from the Kabbalah. What you see is not
Okay.
all there is to know. What does that make you think?
Well, people, to me, it means that people have a lot of layers behind them. To
Mm-hmm.
me, you're peeling away the layers to get to the real person. And it's hard to do because we put up so many uh, faces, masks,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want to be vulnerable. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we don't want people to get to know us too much because they can hurt us. So we put
Mm-hmm.
up that wall. Um, but again, you have to be authentic and be your true self because that's what's important. And
Mm-hmm.
but just be your true self. You can't be you can't be with someone in society wants you to be. Like I will
Mm-hmm.
never be a girly girl. That's just not who I am. I'm a tomboy. I will
Mm-hmm.
always be a tomboy. Even if I have to go to events and they throw me in a dress and heels and the
Yeah.
hair and makeup, as soon as I get home, that stuff is coming off. That stuff is just
Yeah.
coming off. I don't feel comfortable in it. But at one time I had a publicist who just wanted me to always be dainty and be out there like that. And I had to get rid of that publicist because I said, that's not who I am. I just don't relate that way. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
strong, confident woman. I know who I am. I know what my strengths and weaknesses are. And I'm not a girly girl. So
Mm-hmm.
um, And that's okay. This is who I am. So people have to really figure out who they are and be okay with who they are,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what that is. And that's a lot of times people try to be something they're not,
Mm-hmm.
and then they end up being unhappy, and
Mm-hmm.
they suffer because they're trying to fake the funk, I should say, fake it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what people want to do. You want to be your true, authentic self. Take all those masks off and be whoever you are,
Mm-hmm.
and be good with it, and be
Mm-hmm.
good with it.
Yeah. Well, and that's as far as the fake it till you make it. I think that's not the most sound advice because I think
Well,
it's
no, you
like,
know what? No, that's different. That's different. That's
yeah,
different because that's fake it till you make it doesn't relate to being your authentic self. Fake it till you make it is
uh,
more like business. That's more
mm,
like business. Like if you don't have um, the type of clothing that you need to go impress these investors, let's say, you
mm,
might have to go to, a thrift shop or something,
mm,
um, to get you the clothes that look that you're supposed to look just
mm,
for that meeting. So that's
mm,
faking it until you're making it, because you can't go in there looking scraggly because the investors wouldn't give you the money.
yeah, yeah,
So that's fake it till you make it. You go into a situation, especially in business,
mm,
and you might have to fake who you not really are. So if you say,
mm,
what I'm saying, that's different. I'm okay
yeah,
with that. Fake it till you make it in
yeah,
business, because you have to
uh,
do that in order to get to the next level
uh,
sometimes.
yeah, yeah. Now, like, I say that because I feel like a lot of times that can get you into trouble as far as like doing that, where it's like you're trying to like, okay, I need to experience, but it's like the fake it till you make it can be um too much, like where it's like, all right, I need to get the experience, and if you honest about it, then it's like, it does a disservice either way, like
Well, no, like I said, I'm for faking it till you have if it's in business. Like I remember a lot of actors have done that. Like I remember, I
mm,
forgot the actor's name, but one of the actors, well known now,
mm,
went out for audition and they said, "Do you know how to ride a horse?" He's faking it
mm,
till you make it. He said, "Yeah, of
mm,
course. Of course I know how to ride a horse." He
mm.
didn't. He didn't
Yep.
know how to
Yeah,
ride a
yeah,
horse at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
So once he got the job, when he got the role, he went out and took writing lessons
Mm,
with horses. So when
mm,
he came to the set, he was okay. But at that
yeah.
moment, he was faking it until he made it. A big lie, because he wanted
Mm,
that part.
mm,
Worked out well. I'm not saying it's always going to work out that way, but
mm,
um,
mm.
a lot of times you have to do that again to get to that next level in business. I'm just saying in business. I'm not saying in your life. You shouldn't fake
Yeah,
it to the
yeah.
make. Not in your life. That in your personal life, you have to be your authentic self.
Mm, mm. Now, do you feel like there's a harm in being? I go back and forth on this. A harm in being too honest about your mental health.
You know what? Because of this, well, with me, no, because I've basically overcome the dark part.
Mm,
I'm in a good spot. Like I
mm,
said, I'm in a good spot that I can help others. So I'm in a good spot. Um, but you know what? People, I think they should be honest. I was just interviewed for a newspaper the other day, and the lady that interviewed me told me that she has severe depression. She was interviewing
mm,
me, but she told me, she's like, I feel as though I could talk to you. That's what she was saying,
mm,
and she
mm.
was like, I have severe depression to this day. She said I take about 4 different medications,
And,
and I thought that was interesting that she was being so honest and blunt with me about her situation. But
mm,
I think people need to talk about it more, because the stigma is there that if you do have mental health issues, that you're like crazy to the point that you might um, do some harm to someone else,
mm.
and it's not that case. Usually, mental illness is something that's internalized more than anything. So if anything,
Yeah.
they would hurt themselves first before they hurt
Mm,
anyone else.
mm,
Um, so I think it should be talked about. I think that's the problem. I think that we don't talk about it enough.
mm.
We talk about cancer. We talk
Yeah.
about AIDS. We talk about this and that, all these other diseases. The mental
Mm,
health illness is a disease. It's just a disease of the mind as opposed to the
yeah.
body.
Yeah.
And if it was talked about more often, it wouldn't seem so shameful, and it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have so much stigma attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
at one time it was, remember AIDS and HIV when it first came out, people didn't want to talk about it. But
mm,
now, people talk about it like it's nothing.
yeah,
Go get
yeah.
tested. Make sure you use
Mm-hmm.
condoms. Go get tested. Nobody. It's not a big deal anymore because people
Mm-hmm.
kept talking about it, talking about it, talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you feel because that's kind of I still have that impulse as far as like with I know when I struggle with my mental health is to pull away from people and to
Mm,
be disconnect and it's like to um and that's where I feel like there's still that shame and embarrassment where it's like, oh, my mind is not functioning right, let me pull away from the herd or pull away from the group. Now
mm,
have you um and that's where it's like, I don't know, what do you think as far as sharing that with different, depending on the career you're in? Because I think there's some of that where like
yeah.
even autism, like that stuff can be used against you depending on what career you're in and what work you're trying to pursue.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they're like, if you're trying to climb corporate America ladder, you might want to keep that to yourself for a minute,
uh,
because they're just not the most opening and welcoming when it comes to mental health, which is a shame. A lot of companies are doing better. They
mm,
are they have programs in place in the workplace to help people who are dealing with mental health issues. So, you know, it'd be good if you do have a issue like that you seek out that type of company, because
mm,
that you're going to be okay. If it does come out, you're going to be okay, as opposed to be, somebody's trying to get you fired or something if you have mental health issues because they don't understand it.
mm,
Um, so yeah, so anything like that, you should, if you're in a position of power, like police or something like that, you have mental health issues, you definitely should be talking about that, because especially with the police, we know,
yeah.
um, they have the power to kill you in an instant, and we know that. So those people that have mental illness, health issues, definitely should be getting some therapy. Definitely
Mm,
should be getting some help.
mm,
Um, but again, I think the more that we discuss it, like here and on other forums and stuff like that, I think more people will start getting comfortable with it, and it'll be okay, because it's just 750 million people around the world are dealing with some form of mental illness.
mm.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. That's well said. Like you can't say it much better than that, you know. So but yeah, so well, I want to end it right there because
Okay.
that's beautiful. Like, it's we have to talk about it. It's like it affects every walk of life, every
Hmm.
social economic level. So it's like, and that's part of the mission of
Yep.
advocacy and legislation. And it's like we got to embrace it rather than push away from it. And I think
Hmm.
that's part of the um, even for myself, it's like pushing past that embarrassment of
Yep.
my own struggles. So I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thank you for
Is-
having me. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And is there? I'm gonna put your link here.
Okay. Hmm.
Enterprises.com. And
Okay.
is this the best way to reach you?
This is my film site. I have my coach's speaker site is J Bullock Speaker.
Okay.
Someone wanted to reach me that deals with anything like this, they would be best to be on that website, J Bullock Speaker. That's the better site to reach out to me, because this is just my film
Okay.
stuff here on this one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining me today. Like this is, it's a privilege, it's an honor. So I appreciate you,
All
and
right. Appreciate you too. Thank you for having me.
yeah, yeah, and I look forward to seeing more of your work.
Okay.
Uh,
And all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
all right, sounds good.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thank you all for joining the Fight the Funk podcast. It's been episode 57 with Jillian Bullock. So hope you enjoy. Hope you found that insightful and more to come. and continuing to explore mental health, culture, and the world around us. And you all be safe, be well, and have a great evening. Deuces.